share just a brief Christmas reflection, since our job is to work with college students in ministry. I'll share a short lesson that I've done several times for students that has some fun significance for Christmas Day. So this is my 9th year working for a campus ministry organization. That sounds crazy for some of you who have been with me the whole time. So we both work for an organization called the CCO, the Coalition for Christian Outreach, based in Pennsylvania, but they're on 120 campuses. And this is Ivan's 5th year with the CCO as well. So we've both been doing this for a little while. We love the organization. We love the way that they do ministry. And we have agreed to embark on a new adventure together, still working for the CCO. So one thing you should know that will come into play later, the CCO works in partnership. So all of our campus staff who are on college campuses doing Bible studies, discipleship, evangelism, fairly standard Christian outreach, they work in partnership with some kind of local church or local community organization, because the CCO wants college students to find Jesus, but then also be connected to the church, because they'll only be in college for a short time, but hopefully they'll be part of the church for their whole lifetime and part of the body of Christ for eternity. And so our goal in the college years is to help teach students how do you find a local church, how do you get connected to a local family of God, so that wherever you go, you know that you can be part of a church family in that place. So that comes into play on a wider scale, which Ivan will tell you about.
I like that there's only one microphone, so we have to stay close to each other. Yeah, so when the CCO began, so like over 40 years ago, the idea was Pittsburgh and maybe a little bit beyond the borders of Pittsburgh. And so far it's expanded as far out as Indiana State, all the way through Ohio, Pennsylvania, a little bit up in New York, and now we have ministry in Washington, D.C. as well. And many churches all over the country have come to them and said, hey, we want to have CCO here over the years, and they've said no. But for the last couple years, so currently I work for an evangelical Presbyterian church in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and through that have been on a national committee to help with college and youth ministry. And through that committee, we started talking about, hey, this is what the CCO does. We partner with local churches. We reach out to college students. And all of a sudden, EPC churches all over the country said, hey, we want to be a part of that. We're seeing the need for campus ministry where we're at. We're not reaching enough of the next generation, and have invited the CCO to partner with them.
Yes, so the leadership of our organization invited us to consider interviewing for the first open position that is outside of our current region. I don't know what it says that we came to mind when they said, who wants to go the furthest away? Let's get rid of you guys. But we'll take it as a compliment, I think. And so they asked us if we would interview for this position in Memphis, Tennessee. It's with the largest EPC church in the country, so they're kind of a flagship church. And they came to our Jubilee conference. They got excited about the CCO, and they wanted to hire 2 people to lead campus ministry in the city. And so they asked us to think about it. At first we were like, that sounds terrible. It's the South, it's hot. Ivan sweats in the wintertime. That's just not gonna work out. But the Lord, over time, over the course of the summer and fall, changed our hearts to help us understand this is what He was calling us to do. And so at the end of October, we accepted that call, and we will be moving in mid-March.
Yeah, and so currently we have 2 different jobs. I work on campus at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Heather's in sort of a regional leadership role. And so part of this change is we'll be working together as a team for the first time, just back on campus together, reaching out to students. And to me, that's going to be a blessing because she drives like 25, 30 hours a week sometimes. And so this will be a lot more time that we get to do ministry together. But on top of this, part of this experiment that we get to do with the CCO is trying to figure out, can we kind of create sustainable regions in other parts of the country so we don't have to depend on Pittsburgh anymore for things like training and supervision and fundraising and things like that. And so part of this call to Memphis is for Heather and I to train new staff people, to help develop new partnerships at churches, and hopefully Memphis situates us pretty strategically to do that in places like Alabama and Arkansas and Mississippi and things like that. So really this is an experiment to see, can we create new kind of pockets of the CCO, and Heather and I get to be on the front lines of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would not be able to be leading national expansion for a campus ministry organization if it wasn't for the foundation that Albany Methodist Church helped build for me growing up here, being part of church suppers and Sunday school and Good News Club and all of that. It really shaped me. You let me practice doing ministry and giving me a supportive place to do that, and that is why now I get teared up because it's real life. That's why we can do this and start a new thing and hopefully help our organization expand nationally and ultimately help more young people develop a saving faith in Jesus Christ, and see themselves as the future of the church, which is an incredible call and need in our country today. So thank you for the ways that you've invested in me over the years. If you'd like to get our newsletters, if you're not currently on our list, we're happy to do that. We can send them via email or in the mail if you want to keep up with what we're doing. If you ever want to support us financially, we raise support for our work, so we are always appreciative of that. But would love to stay in touch. We'll certainly still be back. You won't get rid of us that easy. But thank you, and let us know if you have any questions or want to talk further. Thanks, babe. All right, so let's just for a couple more minutes look at a passage and think about a few more Christmas reflections. This is Christmas morning after all. So I would invite you to turn to Matthew 1. One thing that's been really transformative for me during my time with the CCO and leading Bible studies for college students has been developing a deep love of the Old Testament. And I've just come to love it so much. I think it's really rich and there's so much depth in it. And one of my favorite things with students is helping them understand how the Old Testament and the New Testament go together. They're not two isolated seasons in God's history. They are a congruent whole. And so I want us to look at the lineage of Christ, which is pretty boring. We typically skip right over it and skip to the wise men that are far more interesting. So when we look at Matthew 1, verses 1 through 17, it's a lot of names. Most of them are hard to pronounce. I'm actually not even going to read it because it would take a while. And I don't have that much. I didn't do my vocal warm-ups, so I'm not ready. But I want you to have it open so you can look at it. And I'm going to pull out a few specific people and tell their stories briefly, because the lineage of Christ, I think, tells us a couple of things. And I think the Apostle Matthew is trying to tell us many things when he's telling us these names. And I think he's having us ask the question, what kind of Savior is Jesus? And who does he come for? And when we look at Jesus' family, this is his family tree, I think we start seeing some answers to that. So right off, we see that mothers are included, which is a departure from the classic way that you would write a lineage. You would typically focus on the fathers of this person begat this person, is the father of this person, the father of this person, etc. And you just kind of rattle them off. But Matthew's breaking that pattern and including some women in here, including moms in the story. And so I think right away we see that he's trying to get our attention and tell us that Jesus is doing something new. He's a different kind of person than we didn't know before. So let me tell you the stories. There's 5 women included in here. Let me briefly summarize their stories, and you can read them more later if you'd like. I'm going to talk about a couple of kings really quickly as well. But I want us to get a picture of who are these people. What does it mean that they're connected to Jesus? And what does that tell us about who he is? So in verse 3, we see Tamar, the name Tamar. Tamar's story is in Genesis 38, I believe. Literally, this story could be not just an episode of Days of Our Lives. It could